So you want to see the beginning of time? Well, to do that, the James Webb Space Telescope has to solve one huge problem. It's got to get cold. But for its most sensitive camera, an instrument called MIRI, it has to get colder than deep space itself. Seriously. This is the incredible story of how NASA invented a way to chill a camera to near absolute zero using, of all things, sound.
So yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Why go through all this trouble? I mean, colder than space? The answer? Well, it all comes down to what Webb is trying to see, and this fundamental problem that heat creates for a telescope that's literally designed to see in the dark.
And look, when we say cold, we mean unbelievably cold. MIRI has to operate at minus 267 degrees Celsius. To put that in perspective, that is just 6 degrees above absolute zero, the coldest temperature possible in the universe, where atoms themselves just practically stop moving. This isn't just chilly, you guys. This is the absolute limit of physics.
Okay, so to really get why this crazy temperature is so important, we first need to meet the star of our show, the instrument at the heart of this story, MIRI. So MIRI stands for the Mid-Infrared Instrument, and its whole job is to hunt for the super stretched out light from the very first stars and galaxies that formed right after the Big Bang. See, as light travels for billions of years across an expanding universe, its wavelength gets stretched, shifting it way down into the infrared part of the spectrum, totally invisible to our eyes. MIRI is built to see that ancient faint light from the cosmic dawn. But, and this is a big but, to see that faint ancient light, Webb has to beat this huge obstacle that is literally everywhere in the universe: heat. All right, so here's the fundamental problem. Infrared light is basically heat radiation. Anything with warmth gives it off. You, me, a planet, and yeah, the telescope itself. So the very thing Webb is trying to detect, these faint infrared signals from ancient galaxies, is also being blasted out by its own hardware. It is literally like trying to hear a pin drop in the middle of a rock concert. The noise is overwhelming.
I mean, think about it this way. If Webb were just at room temperature, its own infrared glow would be so blindingly bright it would completely wash out any faint light from 13 billion years ago. Now, the first line of defense is that massive tennis court-sized sunshield. That thing cools the instruments down to an already insane minus 234 degrees Celsius. But for MIRI, nope, that's not even close to cold enough.
And that's because MIRI has a second, even trickier problem. It's not just about blocking heat from the outside, it's about stopping the camera from making its own noise from the inside.
This internal noise has a name. It's called dark current. Now remember, temperature is just a measure of how fast atoms are vibrating or jiggling around. Even at a crazy minus 234 degrees, the atoms inside MIRI's sensor are still vibrating a tiny bit. And these little vibrations can actually shake electrons loose, which tricks the sensor into thinking it's seen a photon of light, when it hasn't. It's like a constant low-level hum of fake signals, just static. So let's just lay out the whole challenge here. On one side, you have the signal, this impossibly faint whisper of light you're trying to find. And on the other side, you've got two huge sources of noise trying to scream over it. First, the heat glow from the telescope itself, and second, this internal dark current from the sensor's own jiggling atoms. To see the starlight, you have to silence both of them. So to kill that dark current, you have to get those atoms to just stop vibrating. You have to bring them to a near total standstill. And the only way to do that is to get MIRI even colder, all the way down to that minus 267 degree target, just a whisper away from absolute zero. Only then can those faint signals from the early universe finally shine through. Okay, so how in the world do you get something that cold in the vacuum of space? The answer is one of the most brilliant, most ingenious pieces of engineering on the entire telescope. And believe it or not, it all starts with sound.
The device is called a cryocooler, and it starts with two pistons that move back and forth but in perfect opposition, so they cancel out each other's vibrations, super important on a telescope. And just like a speaker cone, they compress and decompress helium gas, creating a low-frequency sound wave.
Okay, now this is where the real magic happens. First, those pistons create this low hum, a 30 Hz sound wave inside a tube filled with helium gas. Now, by tuning that sound perfectly to the length of the tube, they create what's called a standing wave. This is key. It means the spots of high and low pressure don't move around. They become fixed hot and cold spots. So, at each of those hot spots, engineers cleverly place these tiny heat exchangers that just pull the heat away. This whole process pre-cools a separate line of helium gas all the way down to an incredible minus 256 degrees. But wait, minus 256 still isn't the target, right? For that final chilling plunge, that pre-cooled helium gas is sent about 10 meters up to Miri and then forced through a teeny tiny opening. As the gas suddenly expands on the other side, its pressure and temperature just plummet. This is called the Joule-Thomson effect, and you've actually done this yourself. It's the exact same reason the air feels cold when you make a little O with your lips and blow on your hand.
And when I say a tiny hole, I really mean it. The opening is less than 1 millimeter across. It's this incredible precision engineering that allows for that final, dramatic drop in temperature, taking the helium down to the target, minus 267 degrees Celsius. That super chilled helium then flows over copper plates attached right to Miri's sensors, bringing them to that almost complete atomic standstill.
So let's just pause for a second and really appreciate what this means. This wasn't some off-the-shelf part they just ordered. This was a fundamental, game-changing breakthrough.
Get this, when NASA first started designing the Webb telescope, a cryocooler this powerful, this efficient, and this vibration-free, it just didn't exist. It had to be invented from scratch, specifically for this mission. It pushed the absolute boundaries of physics and engineering, all while being built tough enough to survive a rocket launch and operate for years and years in deep space. And it's this very invention that gives Miri the sensitivity it needs to peer back to the dawn of time.
So at the end of the day, this incredible machine is just a beautiful testament to human ingenuity. This cryocooler wasn't just installed, it was invented. It's a solution to a problem that seemed almost impossible. And it just goes to show you that sometimes, to see the universe, you first have to build something the universe has never seen before.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As we try to look even deeper into cosmic history, what other insane challenges, like dark current, are just waiting for us out there? What currently impossible physics will the next generation of engineers need to master to build the telescopes of the future?